Hey guys, welcome to my spring reading wrap up plus my summer TBR. My summer vacation has already started. Like, I'm getting in so much reading time, like I'm very much enjoying it. So I figured I'd show you what I'm planning on reading this summer. Obviously wrap up all of the books that I read this spring, which for me, this is like a good amount to read in the spring, especially with like school and everything. I'm proud of the amount of books that I read. And if you haven't seen a wrap up of mine before, I do seasonal wrap ups because if I did monthly wrap ups, these videos would be like 2 minutes long because I'd have like one book to show you every month. I was in a fantasy English class where we read a bunch of fantasy books, and I'm only going to talk about, I think, one of them because that was the only one that I really like fully read and like was really into and really enjoyed. So I'm only gonna talk about one of them. We're starting with April, where I left off for my winter wrap up, and I was talking about like the books that I was currently reading. So in April, oh my gosh, my Kindle literally has a low battery. I've never seen that before. This thing never runs out of battery. Okay, I need water so bad. It's literally like empty. Okay, cool. I finally got into the Knock 'Em Out series, and so I read Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is my first book by Lucy Score. I like her writing a lot. It was different than what I expected, like way different for some reason. I did enjoy the like small town and like the whole story of Naomi being a runaway bride, and like obviously it says it on the back. Also, all my reviews are gonna be non-spoiler, and anything I say is like gonna be in the summary on the back, just putting that out there as well so I'm not spoiling anything. I rated this a 4 stars. I didn't like love it. I wasn't like too connected. Sorry, there's like something in my mouth. I wasn't like too connected to the characters, and I didn't love and was like loved the couple that much, but by the end it was better. Like, it got better. I'm reading like my thoughts. I've started to write down thoughts from the books that I read now because otherwise I forget everything that happens. Ending was really good. Like, that got me. I was not expecting that at all. Like, I didn't realize that she does that with her books because I heard more from a booktube video that like she does like crazy endings with all of her books, so I didn't know that. That was very interesting. And I will be continuing the series. I just haven't picked up the next one yet, but I'm actually kind of excited for the next one, especially with how this one ended, and like to see where that story goes. The next book that I read was on my Kindle actually, and that was The Fifth Season by, oh my god, I don't remember the author because this was one of the books that I read for my class. So I read The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is also part of a series, and I rated this 3 stars. I wrote down on here that I didn't give it a rating, but I gave it 3 stars, I guess, on Goodreads. Oh, my sticker's like moving around. I'm gonna be so honest, I don't fully remember. Oh yeah, the like different seasons. I really liked, oh yeah, okay, so it follows 3 different characters and 3 different kind of like timelines and POVs. It was like, it had me, I kind of like guessed like what it was about halfway through, and then the big reveal like towards the end was interesting. I got kind of lost at a few points. I don't know if it's just because I was like trying to read it fast for class or what, but it was very interesting. The use of like their powers are like rooted in seismology and like earthquakes and like things happening around the world, and then like big world events shift the whole world into like a new season. So it's very interesting. I'm not sure how to like describe it. Like, I know what happens, but I can't like describe it to you guys. Again, it's a fantasy book. It was a little harder to get into with the world building and everything, but again, the world building uses like a lot of things like from our world as well, so it was easier to understand in that way. 3 stars for that one. I don't know how to describe it, but I had to read it for school, so I enjoyed it a little bit, you know, so I figured I'd rate it, and I fully read it. So okay, I guess next I didn't write this one down on my Notion, so I don't have any notes on this. Next in April, I read Abby Jimenez's new book, Just for the Summer. This was on my spring TBR, so I'm very glad I got to it. It came out at the beginning of April. I went and got it like a few days after it came out, so I just had to read it right away. I just love the fact that they meet like over this Reddit post. Like, Justin, the main guy, he posted about how every girl he breaks up with, she then goes on to like find the love of her life, and like the next person that she dates, like she marries and everything. And then Emma, the other main character in this book, also like has that same curse. So she sees his post about that, and then she like messages him and is like me too, like everyone that I break up with, and they go on and marry the next person. So they're like, well, if we date each other, the curse will be broken. Like, we break up and the next people we meet will be the right people. So I think that's so cute because it was very like low stakes. Like, they weren't like going in it for being in a long-term committed relationship. Like, they were like, we just need to like go on a few dates and break up, and like the curse is broken or whatever. This is only the second book that I read of hers. I read Yours Truly back in January, and I actually did a reading vlog on it. And this is actually part of an interconnected standalone series type situation with that book and part of your world. But I definitely want to read that one next, even though it's kind of out of order, but it's not fully gonna matter, I don't think. And it's aesthetically very cute, but like there's some heavy stuff in here, so maybe look up trigger warnings. Actually, I think she has them. Yeah, there's trigger warnings in the front of the book if you want those. And this was actually my first 5-star read of the year. Oh no, I rated yours truly 5. This was the second 5-star book of the year. Hopefully the rest of the year I can like read the rest of her not backlist, but like I almost want to say discography, but that's for artists. What do you call it? Just like the rest of her books that she has. I guess we're going for the off the shoulder look now. I don't really know. This next book, I'm kind of scared to talk about this. If you love this series and you are very excited to continue it, don't take what I'm about to say like to heart. Like everyone can have their own opinions on books, and that is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I don't know. I read Fourth Wing last year, and actually I read Fourth Wing when Iron Flame came out because I was expecting kind of like read both of them back to back, and I just didn't do that. But I read Fourth Wing and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the world. It was my first time kind of reading a fantasy like that, so I think that's also part of why I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the world and the two characters and like the love story that was in it. I was very excited to go into Iron Flame. I just could not get into it. I read about 20, if that, pages back in December, and I just could not continue it. The ending of Fourth Wing was like so crazy and everything was happening, and like if this book would have picked up right where that one left off, well, it kind of does, but it just like immediately goes downhill and slows down. If it would have just like kept up the energy, I think it would have been better. I don't know. So I ended up having to actually read this audiobook, so I listened to it. I rated this a 2.5 stars. Fourth Wing is 5-star. This was a 2.5, and I don't think I'm gonna be continuing the series. I am interested to see, like maybe I'll read like a summary of the next ones that come out. I have personal whatevers with the author of her views and just like things that have come out. That's my thing with that. I don't feel like giving her my money and continuing the series. There was so much repetition in this. Violet is the main girl character. She became so different from Fourth Wing. Like she was annoying in this book. I'm so sorry. I don't usually like to call female main characters like annoying. In this case, she really was. Like I was like, girl, be so for real. Also Xaden just like not giving her a straight answer about anything, and basically being like, if you want to know this, you have to ask me a very specific question to get a specific answer for me, otherwise you're just not gonna know and I'm not gonna tell you. I'm like, this is not a good relationship, first of all. And it's like, if she's putting herself in danger for you, maybe she should know what she's doing and like getting herself into. So that was my beef with that, trying to like not spoil anything. Not much happens. That's my opinion on Iron Flame. Maybe controversial, but I also did see a lot of people didn't love Iron Flame either, so that's that on that. Okay, the next book I actually also read on my Kindle, but I do want to buy the physical edition because I just want it for my shelf. But that is No Exit by Taylor Adams. If you have watched any of my book videos pretty much this year, you would know that he's my new favorite thriller author. He knows how to write a thriller where you're constantly turning the page, you're constantly wanting to know what's next. He did it again with No Exit. No Exit is actually his like older book, and there's also a movie based off of it, obviously. I will say the movie would have been like scarier and like more intense if I hadn't read the book, because it's like, obviously I know what's gonna happen. Basically, it's about this college student who's driving home for Christmas, but her car, she's having like car troubles, and then she stops at a rest stop, and there's a really bad snowstorm coming, so she stops there to like wait out the storm basically. But she's like, there's like a few other people there, so Darcy, the main character, goes in obviously, and then eventually she goes out to her car to do something, or something happens where she goes back outside. She sees a little hand in the window of the van that's outside. Realizes this is not a spoiler, this is on the back of the book, but realizes that there's a kid in there, so she has to figure out who in there is the kidnapper, how to save this kid, and how to like get out of there with the snowstorm. And it's just crazy. Everything happens in the span of a night till like the early morning, and the ending really got me. I literally like cried at the ending. I wasn't gonna be a 5-star, but the ending got me. Usually I don't like to like change my rating just because of the ending, but with thrillers I feel like that's okay to do. I won't talk too much about this next book because I do have an entire reading vlog on it and a bunch of content on my Bookstagram on it. But funny story by Emily Henry. This is her new book this year. It was a 5-star. I was kind of unsure at a few points, but I got to the end and I was like, yeah, this is a 5-star. Like it's so good. I really enjoyed it. It was really cute. The guy in here, what was his name? Miles. Oh my god, I was on the tip of my tongue. Miles gives very much Nick Miller from New Girl energy, and it was just so good. And Daphne, like her whole situation with like making friends and just starting over, and the situation is basically Miles and Daphne's significant others break up with them to get together. They were like childhood best friends And so that whole thing happens. Again, go check out my other video for my full thoughts, but of course that was a 5-star. The very last book that I read this spring, I just finished it a few days ago, is The 7-Year Slip. I've been wanting to read this for almost a year now. So this is obviously like a romance type thing, but it's also very much magical realism, and I guess that's what Ashley Poston writes, because her other book, The Dead Romantics, is also like a magical realism thing, and I think her new one that's coming out soon is as well. So I love that aspect of it, because it's basically where Clementine is moving into her aunt's apartment after she passed, but the apartment is like magical and basically sends her 7 years into the past, and she meets this guy who 7 years ago subleased the apartment from her aunt. So like they meet then. It's just like this pinch in time type thing where she's like gets sent back to him every once in a while, and at first I like wasn't believing the connection, because I was like, okay, how can you spend 3 days together and then you're like whatever, but you gotta keep reading, it gets really good. I rated this a 4.75. I know this is a lot of people's 5-star read. I just think because I read this after Funny Story, it just like didn't live up to that. Like I don't know, Funny Story kind of put me in a little bit of reading slump there, but I got through this one. And there at some points it was kind of slow and I didn't like fully want to like constantly be picking it up. So I knew it wasn't gonna be a 5-star. It was still really good, and I definitely want to read her other books. I say that about like every book. I'm like, I want to read their other books, and I just have a million books that I want to read. But I feel like that's really good like show of like if you really love an author, like you want to read their other books. Those are all of the books that I read this spring. Now I'm gonna kind of go a little bit fast through my TBR, but I'm currently reading Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. I'm only 40 pages in, but I'm really enjoying this so far. Like it's already got me from 40 pages in, like we're already like into the story, I feel like, which is crazy. But I've never read an Elle Kennedy book. I figured now would be a perfect time to read this because I will be a girl abroad next month, so perfect little, yeah, book to read. I'm very excited for that. I don't have any physical books to show you for my TBR because I feel like it would be very repetitive, because it would just be picking from my physical TBR that feel like I've shown a million times. But I do just want to list off a few of the new releases that are coming out this summer that I will fully be reading. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I still have to read Bride by her. And then that very same day, actually, The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden is coming out. That is a thriller author and thriller series that is all about this one girl who's a housemaid and crazy stuff keeps happening to her, and I guess it's happening again, so I will be reading that one. The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. I actually have that on my Kindle right now. I low-key have an arc of that from NetGalley, so I need to like find the time to sit down and read that because that doesn't come out until August, and I have it on my Kindle, so I'm very excited about that one. And then we got Daydream by Hannah Grace. I believe that comes out in August as well. That is the Maple Hills series that I rant and rave about, Icebreaker and Wildfire. I'm very excited for that one. Might do a reading vlog on that. One thing I definitely want to do this summer is finish the Chestnut Spring series. I'm 2 books in, and I think there's 5 books. I'm like, I have them like way at the top. So yeah, that's like the farthest I'm into a series right now is 2 books. So, and those books I can read pretty fast because I definitely want to read her new series that she started. And then I just want to, like I said, continue series that I've started, like the Knock 'Em Out series. I also started the Dreamland Billionaire series at the beginning of this year. There's so many series that I literally have read 1 book of and then just not picked up the second one. And that's kind of annoying because now I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna forget some stuff from the other books. Once I start like continue that series, I just want to like read every book after each other so I can just like get through it. My goal for the summer is to not buy any new books that aren't new releases. So like the ones that I listed off basically are the only ones that I want to like physically buy and put on my shelf. Not like a full book buying ban, but like basically not buying any other books besides new releases or like series if I'm continuing a series. Yeah, that was this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what books you read this spring or what you're looking forward to reading this summer. If you've read any of these books or if you just have any book recommendations for me, just like leave it all in the comments below. I love to read that and like respond and talk to you guys about books. And again, go follow me on my Bookstagram because I post like live in time, like real-time updates of like my reading and the books I'm reading and reviews and stuff. So go check that out. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week for another video. Bye.